Hey, welcome back to the channel. So this time is different. I'm not doing any math lessons, and there's a more important lesson that I can teach and at least I can share with you, which I feel it is the foundational lesson for all the learnings that you do. And that is the concept of learning. So I have a question for you. When was the last time someone taught you how to learn? Anyone? No? A teacher, an adult, mom and dad, anybody ever taught you how to learn? Well, I have a feeling that no one has. And we assume as teachers that when you walk into our classroom, we actually think that you know how to learn. But that is a fallacy. So I'm going to change that. I'm going to guide you through a journey of how to learn the most efficient, effective, and long lasting way through 5 pillars of learning. Stay with me. This is the most important lesson that you will ever want to see and hear, because from this point on, if you take this on and execute on those 5 pillars, it's a guarantee that you're going to level up your learnings, that you will have this innate confidence built in from this point forward. Okay, let's dive in. Okay, number 1, embrace the growth mindset. What does that mean? Ever hear yourself or a student or an adult saying that I'm not good at this, I'm not good at math, I'm not a math person, I'm not an English person? That represents what is called as fixed mindset. And what is fixed mindset? Well, it's a belief that your abilities are set in stone. That means never changes, but that's not true. It's proven, studies after studies and after studies. So stop doing that, change that. And how to change it? Well, we're going to change to what is called as growth mindset. You want to adopt this thing called the growth mindset. And what does that mean? That means the belief that your abilities can be developed. You can get better over time. And how? Through dedication, hard work, grit, day in, day out. The harder that you work and the more dedication and discipline you have, guarantees your success in learning. So here is what I suggest you can do, and based on the many studies I've done through the last 20 years, that whenever you come across this negative narrative that I can't do this, that I can't do that, I'm not good with this, I'm not good with that, you always add this 3-letter word called yet, okay? At the end of that sentence. I can't solve this math problem. Well, I can't solve this math problem yet. I can't read this passage. I can't read this passage yet. I can't write essay. I can't write this essay yet. Whatever yet. And what yet does, that tiny word opens the door to all the possibilities of learning. You're actually subconsciously programming yourself to believe that you are capable of learning, which you are, is the true thing. So adopt that growth mindset. And by the way, it's not this feel good kind of a phrase. It's actually backed by neuroscience, because brain is like a muscle, right? The more you challenge it, the stronger the connection happens between the neural pathways of learning in our brain. So you need to change that mindset from the fixed mindset to growth mindset. All right. So number 2 is organize your universe. Organization is the key. How many times you have wasted 15 minutes here, 20 minutes there looking for that formula sheet, looking for that sample English essay that your teacher gave you, or looking for the tools that you need if you're an artist and you want to do that, and you're going through the drawers to find out where things are. So you have a binder, you have math, science, and socials, or whatever courses that you're taking. You are making sure that at most you put 2 courses per one binder. Don't do more than that, because it's just going to get chaotic. 2 courses, let's say math and science, in one binder. You start sequentially. Chapter 1, section 1 starts. And then you go step at a time sequentially throughout the course, and you always keep it clean, organized, and in one place. Organization It's also very important in terms of your physical space. It should mirror organizing your mental space because make it easier to retrieve information when you need it the most. This is how our brain works. You need to help your brain so that it can work less when it comes to staying focused and getting the information that it needs. Chaotic and disorganized learning environment will not help you to stay focused and also get to the next step of the pillars of the learning. So pillar number 3, this is about focus. You need to stay focused. Very critical. And I know our biggest challenge for today's students is distraction. And you're being distracted. We are being distracted all the time, especially if you're a teenager, especially from grade 8 and up, hoping that younger kids, they don't have that much of a distractions in terms of digital devices. But this distraction is absolutely detrimental for your learning. And the science has proven it. The studies and our studies have shown over and over again that distraction is the key to sabotaging our focus. And true focus is a skill, just like anything else. It's about training your brain so that you ignore what is not important and stay focused in what is important. So the first thing that you need to do, you need to get rid of your cell phones. And I understand you have attached to that cell phone, like your life depends on it, but you need to get rid of that cell phone during the time that you are learning. You put it as far away as you possibly can so that you don't get distracted by the notification, by the social media. So it's about training your brain to ignore what is not important. It is a proven fact now. Number one distraction is this addiction to the cell phone and social media. Get rid of it. And here's what you do. You have a dedicated study time and a study place. And that time, maybe 25 minutes, maybe 35 minutes, maybe an hour, you shut the cell phone off, you put it away, you tell everybody that you are not available and you're just gonna study. And by the way, take a break, 25 minutes, 5 minutes break, half an hour, 5 minutes break. If you're extending it to an hour, you take 10, 15 minutes break. But break is very important because scientifically it's proven that you do need to recharge and regroup. And it's actually good for building the memory of the learning as what you're learning. So you need to give it this time as well for your brain to cool off and then redo it again. So you need to train your brain to concentrate in short but powerful bursts where you are staying focused during that time of study. Pillar number 4, it's called active rehearsal for mastery. So what does that mean? Do you remember how you learned how to ride your bike for the first time? Do you remember that? Maybe at first you had the training wheels on and then the wheels came off and then you tried it and you tried it and you tried it. Most of us, we had to try riding that bike over and over. We tried it, we fell down, we got up, we back on it again, and we just practice and practice and practice. And every time we did, we learned a little bit better, a little bit better. And this is what active rehearsal for mastery means. That means you got to do the work. Nothing easy about this. And I cannot sugarcoat it for you. I wish that I could, but you got to do the work. You don't learn by osmosis. You don't learn by just watching a lesson going on. You need to be an active participant. And guess what's going to happen the first couple of times, maybe 2, 3, 4 times, the first few times? Well, you're going to make mistakes. And fantastic, because when you make mistakes, that is when learning happens. This is the most powerful part of the process of learning, that when you make mistakes, your brain fires up and like a sponge wants to understand why. And once you learn why, it will never make the same mistake again. So don't be afraid of making mistakes because that is part of learning. This is how you learn. If you don't make mistakes, that means you haven't learned anything. I mean, that was just too easy for you. So this is so important and you need to take it on. Nobody else. You need to realize that every time you practice, you get a little bit better, a little bit better. You build this resilience of self-confidence that, hey, I can do this, because by practicing, you're telling your mind, your brain, that you are actually engaged fully. That means you have to do whatever it takes to do it on your own. So if it comes down to rewriting the notes that you have taken, and you do that with, but however you do it, by rehearsing an active retrieval of that information, this pathway of learning becomes stronger and stronger. But you got to do the work. Nothing worthwhile comes easy. You got to do the work. And over 27 years of teaching, I can tell you that I have not had a single student who actually put in the effort, not a single student that they gave it all they got and they didn't succeed, and succeed in a very fantastic ways. But then I have other students that they were genetically smart, very smart kids, absolutely. But because they didn't put in the effort to do the work, that active rehearsal work, they didn't really meet that expectation of their ability, and they actually did a mediocre job of succeeding in the classroom. And some of them actually they didn't, because skills and natural talent can take you so far. Discipline, grit, and hard work always wins. So pillar number 5 is the power of spacing. Okay, what does that mean? Now, this was something that I actually didn't know at the time that I was going to university, and based on science, is that most of the time, common student habit, and I was one of them, was to cramming for a test the night before. Do you remember that, or do you still do that? Okay, well, the new science, well, that's not new anymore. It's been over 20 years, or it's called the distributed practice. That means you study your material in short but repeated sessions over a longer period of time. That means instead of sitting down and study for 3 hours in one go, you break it up into 4 days, 30 minutes today, 30 minutes tomorrow, 30 minutes the next day. And each time when you go back, what it does is strengthening the memory pathway. And that is one of those main mechanism of being able to keep that information for the long term. And usually, it's always better to create this study schedule. The way you do it, 20 minutes, 30 minutes every day, and then you do it again the next day, the next day, the next day, and you do that repeated sessions over the longer period of time. Every time that they did the research and they went and studied thousands of students that they did very well at universities and colleges or trade schools around the world, and they say, okay, what is it that you guys do? And that is the information they gather, that they went through these 5 pillars in one form or another. So let's wrap it all up. We talked about 5 pillars of learning. Number 1 was growth mindset. Number 2 was organization. Number 3 was focus. You got to have focus. Number 4 was active rehearsal. You got to practice. You got to put in the work. And number 5 was the spacing. Do not cram night before the exam. You spread it out through each day for 5, 6, 7 days. And the longer you do it, the better it is, depending on how much information that's coming at you. Remember, learning is not about how smart you are. It's about how smart you work. And most students, those who are very, very successful, they're not geniuses. They just figured it out, this hack, this 5 pillars hack. That's what they do. And they're just average like you and I, that we just want to learn certain things, and they use these 5 pillars day in, day out until they succeed. But you have to be honest with yourself. Are you doing all of these 5? And which of these 5 you have the most troubles with? Now you know how to. Someone has told you now that what to do. Use it to your advantage, and you'll be amazing in whatever you choose to do. Okay, be well until next time when we go back to another math lesson.